Alright guys, what's going on? Rods Over Bricks here with a new RC car that we're going to take a little review of today. It is an LDRC 1/28 scale. Four-wheel drive, it's got lights, and being that it's got a servo, I'm assuming that's going to be fully proportional. And to top it all off, we'll get this thing out of the box, get the battery charged, etc. But then we're going to go ahead and upgrade the motor real quick. We got a Hawk 7 here. This 130 motor is typically used inside slot cars, so we're going to see how much speed we pick up by changing the motor out. Well, it doesn't say which car I got on the box, at least not that I could tell, so let's open this thing up and see which car we have. Alright, Lancia. Look at that. Little black plastic bits to put on. Let's see what else this came with here. We got our USB, oh my goodness, parts are falling out. We got our USB charger, and it feels like, yep, we got the drift wheels with this. Oh, this thing just looks sweet. I cannot wait to put on all the little bits. First, let's go ahead and, oh yeah. Okay, the plastic's off. Very nice. And oh yeah, four-wheel drive. No differentials, of course. I kind of wouldn't expect that in something this small. Alright guys, so with the LDRC, the 2803, we got our Lancia out of the box. And a pretty darn nice little controller here. I love the little thumb tab. That's going to be real nice when I'm trying to record. Now it is a pretty simple little remote control. We got our on and off switch on the back. We have our steering trim up here. I don't see any switches for steering reverse or throttle reverse, so that's okay. But what I do see here, this whole steering wheel can go on the other side, it looks like. An ambidextrous remote control with just a couple of screws. And the remote control feels pretty comfortable in my hand. I've got sausage fingers, but it fits pretty well. Definitely really, really light, but it looks all right. I just noticed something here. There we go. Nice and shiny. We also got our little plastic bits and bobs that go on the car. You know, your mirrors, door handles, etc. We have the hard plastic drift tires. And what I'm assuming here is going to be the back spoiler right up here. And some really small screws. I'm assuming that's just little spares for the wheels. We got our USB charger. And this tiny little Phillips. So let's go ahead and get the battery on the charger with this thing. And put it all together. See how it runs. And then we'll swap in our little performance motor. Now I'm really hoping this motor fits. A lot of the 130 motors have the little contacts at the very top for you to solder the wires into. This one's got them right in the back. So that might pose a little challenge, but, you know, we'll get over that, right? The underside of the car, it is Phillips screws everywhere. I'm not feeling, yep, there's no suspension. Well, let's go ahead and pop this battery cover off. And there we have it. 3.7 volts, 14500, very, very common battery, good little batteries. They come in pretty much all the cheap little, like Amazon Tumbler RC cars, stuff like that. So let's get this on the charger, and we're going to run this thing after we put it all together. Alright guys, that just looks sweet. Alright guys, it's been about 45 minutes. The battery's charged. We're going to go ahead and pop it in, get a couple of AA's in our remote, and see how this thing is. Our battery is in. Let's see the steering action. really nicely controllable steering. Doesn't steer the sharpest, as you can see. That's as far left as it goes and as far right. As for throttle, let's go ahead and put this thing upside down. Oh no, a door handle came off. Hang on. I should probably glue those in so I don't lose them, but here's the throttle. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and slap a GPS on here, and if I can, see how fast this thing will go. All right, we got the GPS on board. I'm thinking this thing's going to go about 6. Now, the GPS so far is only saying 3.2 miles an hour. I don't think that's very accurate. I am reading it from indoors on a very short straightaway, so it probably just doesn't have time to pick up. All right, so without differentials, I have the trim set pretty straight for the steering. We're going to go ahead and go a far left turn and see what its turning radius is, nice and slowly. I'd say about 30 inches, 35 inches. You're definitely not going to cut too tight of corners with this thing, at least not with the rubber. Ooh, just crashed it again. At least not with the rubber tires. We're going to go ahead and put the drift tires on, and I'm sure that turning radius is going to be dramatically shortened. So check this out, guys. I was just putting the drift tires on, and look at that. Even behind the tire is a cute little rotor and caliper. It'd be fun to paint these things so that they show a little bit more through the wheel, but that's a nice little touch to detail. All right, we got our drift tires on. RC car drifting. This thing does not have a gyro, but it is, as I said earlier in the video, it is 4-wheel drive. It felt super predictable. Like I said, I am a complete amateur. I have maybe 20 minutes of RC drift car experience under my belt, and I felt like with a little bit of practice, I could be really good at this, probably in a few hours or maybe even a day or so at the most. And it definitely had plenty of power. I did notice that it liked to left more so than it would to the right, as far as a power slide goes. I'm not quite sure what the deal is there. It seems to steer evenly, but I think next we're going to go ahead and throw in that motor of ours. Now, it is a cheaper motor, but I've had pretty good luck with these in previous projects, but never with this low of voltage. We'll just see what the heck happens. But first, we got to get the motor out, so we're going to go ahead and pop off that screw, and that should show us what it looks like without a body. And all right, with those screws off, and here it is in all of its glory. I mean, look at that little itty-bitty servo. We got our steel drive shaft running through. Gearbox looks very well greased. So we're going to go ahead and fire up the soldering iron, change motors, and I'm really hoping that those wires are long enough, and we'll be right back. So we've got the 2-in-1 ESC receiver out. And it looks like we are going to have some clearance issues with that motor. And here's what it looks like without a body. It is a 3-wire servo with a very standard plug on it. Now when you take the body off, be careful, the lights are plugged in, and I of course pulled out one of the wires, so that'll be fun to solder. And here's the top of our 130 motor. I'm hoping that these gray and black wires are long enough to go where we need them when we put in the new motor. Take out these little screws, and that should show us the gearbox. So it looks like we're about 3/16 of an inch away from having it down all the way. And just like my fears earlier, those little contacts that I have to solder onto are right in the middle of some plastic things. Not a problem. We're just going to whip out the Dremel, make some room for it, and get this motor in. All right, we got some material removed, and the motor fits in there real nice. So in a moment here, when I solder on the wires from the old motor to the new, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the 2-in-1 ESC just to make sure we're going the right direction. That is kind of important, especially because we don't have a throttle reverse on our controller. So let's get these puppies soldered up, back in the car, and see if we picked up any speed. All right, guys, the new motor is in there, soldered up all nice Now we'll just put this thing all back together. All right, guys, we got the new motor in, everything's screwed back together. Let's see if it works. Oh, I think it's going to be quite a bit faster. One more modification I did off camera was I had to cut 2 little notches there to fit the wires through. The gray and black wires were plenty long enough. So let's give this thing a rip. Well, so far it seems like a little upgraded 130 motor is definitely a need be for these LDRC 128. Well, guys, thanks for watching this far. You probably could see in the video how much better this thing was drifting after the new motor. I think the power really helped this thing do the power slides and do everything it needs to. I just felt a lot more confident with that extra power. It wasn't as big of a difference as I was hoping for, but definitely a large upgrade over the stock. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you very much for watching. I always appreciate it. If you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe. It helps me out a ton. I'm trying to grow this channel, and it's been a slow process, but we're getting there. All right, take care, folks. This is Rods Over Bricks.